Good evening, good afternoon. For our final session, I've been asked to present musicians from Mali. My name's Daniel Brown. I'm the vice chairperson of Free Muse and a journalist who's been covering music for the past 20 years from that region and the rest of Africa, actually. When I hear all these testimonies today, it really makes me want to encourage the organizers and the powers that be to follow up these 2 days of all that is banned is desired by all that is desired is banned, with all the philosophical consequences that might have. And I'm very touched by the universal nature of the accounts that we've been hearing, so much so that, you know, when I see Zarganar from Burma talk, and next to me the manager of the group that you're going to see, Terakaft, Philippe Brix from France, cry with emotion, I realize that Zarganaz touched a universal chord. And shortly after, when I see the director of Festival in Deserts, Manny, cry with laughter when he listens to the testimony, incredible testimony of the American Azhar Usman, then I also know that the world is a very small place and we're all humans on it. I'm here to introduce both these entities, the group and Manny Ansar, both from northern Mali, or more specifically from Azawad, as they call it. This is a territory that's about the size of France, where borders have very different or little meanings. They're largely artificial. Manny Ansar is the director of, as I said, the festival in the desert, so we can perhaps see a few illustrations of this landmark annual gathering that has been celebrating the music from the region and beyond for 12 years, and it's going to celebrate its 13th anniversary in February 2013. And I do hope that that number is not an unlucky one. I'm certainly convinced it won't be. This session is, I think, an example of how politics, history, economics, and music intertwine in very dramatic fashions. And I quickly wanted, before Manny comes on the stage, to make 2 points. First of all, that what we're witnessing and trying to follow in Mali is very much a national crisis, with international inputs from the past that have really marked and are marking this whole region. And the second point is that the collapse of this society didn't just sort of materialize out of nothing, and it's the consequence of 50 years of very difficult development and questioning about identity. So I do caution all of you, when you are listening to our media, to understand that it's a lot more complicated than what they often portray. Manny Ansar doesn't like to be thrust into the public eye. He prefers to talk about the groups that he's helped for the past 20 years, and the role that music is playing for the identity of his Tuareg people. Or actually, they prefer to be called by their real name, the Kel Tamashek, the Tamashek. So I'll try and be brief. He had an acute awareness of how his music needed to be needed to evolve and to adapt itself to international musical circles very early on. And that helped him to manage and in some ways launch the international career of Tina Riwen, a group that this year won a Grammy Award and was very important for the identity of the Tamashek. 8 years later, that was in 1993, 8 years later, he launched Festival in the Desert. At first it was a collective work, and it was to be an itinerant festival. It started with 2 years in Kidal, and then it went on to Essakan, where I went. It's about 70 kilometers north of Timbuktu. Recently, it moved to Timbuktu. All of this changed in January when the Tamashek rose up for the fourth time since independence, incidentally, January 17th, and it forced Manny to postpone his festival and then to move it down to Bamako shortly later. All these dramatic events are detailed by Andy Morgan, and I'd encourage you to read the article that was published yesterday in The Guardian, the London Guardian, to get an idea of what's going on. I think it's in a blog, he details it a lot further, so it's very important to see his testimony. He's someone who's been following a lot more than me the musical realities of the region. So I'd like to welcome Manny Ansar on stage. Manny, if you'd like to come.
Merci.
Manny, first of all, the consequences of the January 17th uprising and the dramatic developments since when the Tamashek uprising was kind of kidnapped by other groups.
Je voudrais d'abord remercier ce public et remercier Freemuse et leurs partenaires pour nous avoir invités.
I'd like to thank Freemuse and its partners for having invited us.
Au cours des 10 dernières années, j'ai traversé le monde en parlant de ce festival.
I've spent 10 years talking about this festival worldwide.
Je le faisais avec fierté et avec plaisir.
I did it with pride and with great pleasure.
Malheureusement, aujourd'hui, je suis là pour parler avec tristesse. Et même avec une certaine honte.
Unfortunately, I'm here to talk about it with a heavy heart, and I'm ashamed about what's happening.
De ce qui se passe chez moi et par des gens qui se font appeler musulmans comme moi.
And it's being provoked by things that you've read about in the press and by people who, like me, call themselves Muslims.
Lorsque j'ai vu le titre de cette intervention qui s'appelle Le jour où la musique s'arrêta,
when I saw the title that this session has been given, The Day That Music Stopped,
j'ai eu un frisson.
I had a shiver.
Un frisson que j'ai eu il y a très longtemps lorsque j'ai vu un film, je crois, qui s'appelait Le jour où la terre s'arrêta.
Because it reminded me of a film that perhaps you all saw, The Day the World Stopped. And I was a young kid when I saw it.
Malheureusement, pour le film, c'était du cinéma, c'était de la fiction, et pour nous, c'est de la réalité.
That was, of course, fiction, and unfortunately for us, this is not fiction, this is reality. Manny, can you tell me how important music is for the Tamashek community?
La musique au Mali, et particulièrement dans le nord du Mali, d'où je viens, est présente dans tous les actes de la vie.
It's present for us in all of Mali, actually, in every important daily activity or in events.
Ce n'est pas seulement de la distraction ni un business.
It's not just entertainment or a business that we're involved in here.
C'est par la musique que nous est dite notre histoire, notre passé. C'est à travers elle que nous apprenons qui nous sommes dans le passé.
It's through music that we know about our history and also our historical identity.
Dans la vie de tous les jours, c'est à travers la musique que les anciens nous disent ce qu'il faut faire ou ce qu'il ne faut pas faire.
It's through music that our elders tell us, give us lessons about what we should do and what we shouldn't do.
C'est à travers la musique, les poèmes chantés qu'on fait les déclarations d'amour et qu'on fait même les demandes en mariage.
It's through music that we declare our love to our bequeathed, and we often get married, I think, with music.
C'est à travers ce message aussi qu'on fait les critiques, les concurrences, et les rivalités, les blagues. Tout se dit. Tous les messages se passent à travers ces chansons et ces instruments.
Through music, also we criticize, we make comments about the realities around us.
Une chose que beaucoup de gens ne savent pas, c'est que dans le passé, dans les guerres entre tribus, quand deux groupes se battent, chaque groupe a derrière lui un ou deux griots qui jouent un instrument et qui les encouragent.
One thing not a lot of people know is that historically when two communities within the Tamashek would fight, behind they would have a couple of griots who would be playing and singing and encouraging their their community.
Pendant que les autres se battent avec les sabres ou les lances, il y a des gens qui jouent la musique qui sont en train de les encourager.
So while they were using their weapons, their traditional weapons, there were musicians behind them playing their music, their string instruments.
Et celui qui essaye de fuir ou s'est raconté après dans les villages et il est mort de honte, il préfère mourir sur place.
And anyone who was caught running away, when he was caught in his village, he preferred dying than the shame of actually fleeing.
Et il y a un certain gentleman agreement qui fait qu'on ne touche pas ces musiciens.
And there was a gentleman's agreement that these griots, these musicians, were not to be touched, even in defeat.
À la rigueur, le vainqueur va avec les musiciens chez lui et il le fait jouer la musique pour lui.
At worst, they were kidnapped and taken to the victor's house, and he played music for the winner.
C'est juste pour décrire les rôles et combien ils sont importants.
It's just an idea I want to give you of the importance that this music has for us.
Donc c'est pour dire que c'est arrêter la musique, c'est essayer d'arrêter tout notre système de vie.
So to stop music is like asking us to strip us of the system within which we live.
Donc elle ne doit pas s'arrêter.
It mustn't stop.
Voilà.
We mustn't stop, Manny. Why do you think these radical militias, who are quite small in number, but unfortunately are controlling a region as big as the size of France, why do they want to stop music? Why is it a threat?
Tu peux me dire en français.
Pourquoi ces groupuscules veulent arrêter cette musique? Pourquoi ils trouvent que vous êtes des menaces pour eux?
En fait, ce qu'on a compris, c'est ces gens qui, la première chose pour imposer leur autorité, c'est de venir saper tout ce qui existe déjà.
So, what we immediately saw is that they want to make sure that there's nothing that can threaten their authority.
Les autorités des chefs traditionnels, les autorités des musiciens connus, tout ça, il faut arrêter pour pouvoir s'imposer.
So they attack traditional chiefs and high-profile musicians that could in some way threaten them.
Bien sûr, pour eux, ils portent des préceptes, des règles de la religion musulmane qui existaient effectivement, mais qu'on n'a jamais pu appliquer. Même au 7e siècle, on n'avait pas appliqué ça.
They use precepts and concepts from Islam that are there, but they're 14 centuries old. They're in the 7th, 8th century that they're in, and they were never applied.
Et bien sûr, c'est bizarre pour nous que c'est au 21e siècle que ces gens veulent imposer des choses qu'on n'a pas pu appliquer au début de l'islam.
So we find very strange that in the 21st century, these ideas are being imposed on a population.
C'est comme si on prend un ordinateur, on essaie de vider toute la mémoire et mettre de nouveaux logiciels. C'est ça qu'ils essaient de faire dans notre société.
It's as if they took a computer and just wiped out everything from the hard disk and put their own ideas, impose them on us.
C'est comme ça qu'ils agissent, quoi.
And this is how they act. I have many more questions.
Bien sûr, ça ne passe pas.
And of course, it's being refused. Yes, although at the moment militarily the populations are at the moment being abused and attacked and aren't able to face this military threat. They're resisting by going to the borders, going to areas where the militia aren't pursuing them. There's something like, some say, 2/3 of the population has gone to the frontiers between Mali and Mauritania and Algeria.
Exactly.
Time has run out, and I'd like to have your group, Terakaft, come on stage. And first of all, Pino, who is a bass player, and while the stage is being reorganized for the concerts, I'll ask Pino a question or two about his reality. And I'd like you to welcome Terakaft in the shape of Diara, who's the guitarist and vocalist, one of the founders of Tinariwen, and also the uncle of the founder of Terakaft, Sanu, and finally Pino. Pino, welcome to the stage. You are in some ways a symbol of the younger generation, in Terakaft because your uncle is... no, not your uncle. I don't think he's your uncle.
It's our uncle.
Yeah,
It's the same
like
family.
Right. He's of another generation. You're dressed in the Ishumar way. Ishumar is a funny deformation of je suis chômeur, I am an unemployed person in French, and they've taken it, which is a reflection of a more rock and roll rhythm that your group has, the younger concept of the music from the Tamashek. Yes? Tell me about, the realities for the younger musicians at the moment at home.
At this time, it's very, very, very hard. There is no music for our side because the truth is we don't get land. We don't get land. They cut my land in two parts, okay? One part for the government, another part for the terrorists, or I don't know what you want to call them, because we has finding a name for this movement. So there is no music, there is no things who can roll. So the people just leave the place and find Algeria, Burkina, or Niger, the safe place to steal, because there is a big negation. Come on, I'm gonna explain myself in French a little bit, just to don't make you sick.
No,
Okay.
no, you're doing fine, Pino.
Non, parce qu'on n'a pas de territoire, donc tout le monde essaie de s'exiler pour échapper à ces mouvements qu'on n'arrive pas à définir.
Oui.
Qu'est-ce qu'ils sont en train de projeter, qu'est-ce qu'ils sont en train de faire par rapport au peuple, on ne sait pas. S'ils s'installent comme ça et qu'on me laisse garder ma culture, c'est bien, mais il n'y a plus de culture, il y a rien. Donc,
We have no territory, we have no land, so we're forced into exile. We don't know these groups, they're nameless, and if they just would respect our culture, that's fine, but we don't know their real desires. Pino, I think the group had a difficult time coming to Europe. You've just come from Thessalonica, where you performed. It's very complicated for some of you. Diarra, the guitarist, lost his guitar to bandits on the way here. He had to get another one from a musician. It's really complicated to go on tour, to get out of the country, yes?
Yeah, it's very complicated parce que parce que voilà, il y a pas, les institutions sont arrêtées et les Touaregs est immatriculé terroriste. Donc du coup, on essaye de voilà, quand ils vont au Niger, on n'en veut pas parce que tu vois, c'est des mouvements genre contaminants ou tout ça. Il y a l'amalgame qui se sème. Donc du coup, voilà, c'est très compliqué pour Diarra, pour tout le monde. Donc on est obligé de s'exiler pour aller trouver les visas. On ne peut plus le faire au Mali, on vient le faire en Algérie ou au Niger.
It's very complicated to get here, to get out. We can't have our visas in Mali anymore, so we have to go elsewhere, to Niger. There's a lot of confusion and attacks. It's true that people assimilate us, and often the Tamashek are seen as the whites of Mali. They're attacked in Bamako also, and so they're assimilated to all kinds of groups, and so it's quite dangerous moving around. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, we'll move on to the music, which I think often has a much more powerful or as powerful message as the words. Thank you very much, Pino and Manny Ansar, for your testimonies, and let's enjoy the group Terakaft. Thank you.
إليري وردت شيشي قد وردي يغدي الناس قد وردي يغدي الناس تنيري وردت شيشي الناس ميلانا تاهيد سيدو تيوه الناس مكنة دسنا تفارج سكالات للناس رسان دلل يا وين حسني وتن الناس تنيري وردة شنشي قد وردي يودي الناس سري قد وردي يودي الناس تشنشي سره قد وردي يغتي الناس مو سره قد وردي يغتي الناس تنيري وردة تشنشي قد وردي يودي الناس موزره قد وردي يودي الناس النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن سبا سرجاشن دغطرها نسن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن سيبا سرقاشا دطرها نسنا مدريت نرد مرن جروا الصوهين دواي بررن سي مدريت نرد مرن جروا الصوهين دواي بررن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن سيبا سرجاشن دغطرها نسن الدنيا دريدو لهن الدنيا الزايا دريدو لهن ارك الدنيا دريدو لهن الدنيا الزايا دريدو لهن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن سيبا سرجاشا دغطرها نسنا الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن سيبا سرجاشا دغطرها نسنا الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن الله فالماني ندم النسن سيبا سرجاشا دغطرها نسنا Merci. إدياني دوهن إدياني دوهن إدياني دوهن إدياني دوهنا لخاطرت منتك إلى السلام إدياني دوهنا إدياني دوهنا إلى يسيلا غبا يسرتها راقل إدياني دوهنا إدياني دوهنا سريتها راقلا أودي سوانا إدياني دوهنا إدياني دوهنا إدياني دوهن إدياني دوهن إدياني دوهن إدياني دوهنا Merci. أرغماني نرغان بس تلان السان استقل سجامي بس نوض درهان أرغماني نرغان أرغماني نرغان بس تلان السان بس تقل سجامي بس نوض درهان أرغماني نرغان جراوة هي الوا نريها تنري لواتا يتما مكينة جروا انا لواتا يتما نرغماني نرغان بس لان السان استقل سجامي بس نوض درها نرغماني نرغان ورجنة الجطان ولا دغشا سلكام كما شاليان نما غسد غشيلان نما غسد غشيلان أرغماني نرغان بس لان السان استقل سجامي بس نوض درهان أرغماني نرغان جراوة نغتك ما جراوتي مرهان تجرى وتيموها تجرى ونغنصر تجرى ونغنصر أرغماني نرغانا بس إلا نسانا استقل سجامي بس نوق درهان أرغماني نرغان أرغماني نرغان بس إلا نسان بس كل سجامي بس نوط درهان أرغماني نرغان أرغماني نرغان بس إلا نسان بس كل سجامي بس نوط درهان أرغماني نرغان Merci. كنت مدهلنا ورنتي لا لنخدمنا تجرى واهي كنت مدهلنا ورنتي لا لنخدمنا لما عرشنا جيت ما لتهدت تاينا تجرى واهي تكون اما تهلنا ورنتي لا لنخدمنا ناري وين نقلاد لنكشان نهاية جند غمان نهاية ترسم ماوينا تجرى واهي تكون دمتها لنا ورنتي لا لنخدمنا وانا اوين الفرسان بيد تدين هي سنتا ترهام تجرى واهي تكون دمتها لنا ورنتي لا لنخدمنا تكون تمتها لنا ورنتي لا لنخدمنا تجرى وهي تكون تمتها لنا ورنتي لا لنخدمنا. Merci, thank you.